World News, Nationalism from the Vatican Perspective. Title: Bishop Leo XIV warns world against rising nationalism. Hatred will not bring justice. In a rare and emotional speech in St. Peter's Square, Vatican, Bishop Leo XIV officially spoke out about the rising wave of nationalism around the world. In strong but still humane words, he warned that the world is on the threshold of a new era of division, unless peoples choose dialogue over hatred in time. In recent years, world leaders have witnessed a wave of nationalism spreading, from elections in Europe, anti-immigration campaigns in North America, to growing xenophobia in Asia. Nationalism is no longer a vague concept in textbooks, but has become a catalyst for a series of hardline policies, calls for discrimination, and even violence. That is why Bishop Leo XIV, the Pope considered a bridge builder of the times, decided to break his silence. In front of tens of thousands of believers and millions of online followers, Bishop Leo XIV made it clear: nationalism is not wrong when it expresses love for one's country, but it becomes dangerous when that love turns into hatred for others. He called on political leaders to put the common good of humanity above local interests, and condemned the use of patriotism to justify acts of ethnic, religious, and immigrant exclusion. One of the most notable excerpts: "We are building new walls, not of cement, but of suspicion, of isolation, of hatred, invisible but extremely dangerous walls." Shortly after the speech, many world leaders expressed their agreement. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres praised the Pope's call as a necessary wake-up call in an increasingly divided world. However, not everyone agreed. Some populist politicians in Europe and the United States criticized the speech as unrealistic and far from the need to protect national interests. Nevertheless, international public opinion, especially scholars and human rights activists, said that Leo XIV had touched on what the world needed: a moral voice amid the noise of politics. Historically, the Vatican has rarely intervened publicly in political matters, but this time, Bishop Leo XIV chose to stand at the center of the debate. He did not take sides, but stood for the people, those caught between the currents of ideology, politics, and prejudice. The speech was not just a warning, but also a message: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. In an age when the world seems to be going fast and going alone, is it still time to step back and go far together? Ladies and gentlemen, Russia has launched another large-scale attack on Ukraine in the early morning of June 9th, using UAVs and missiles to strike several cities across Ukraine. According to the Kyiv Independent, several explosions occurred in the city of Ripne, located in western Ukraine and far from the front line. This massive airstrike came just days after Russia launched 452 UAVs and 45 missiles into Ukraine in the early morning of June 0th. This was one of the largest air attacks since the beginning of the full-scale war. Kremlin declared the bombings as retaliation for Kiev's UAV attacks on Russian strategic aircraft. During Operation Cyber, the Ukrainian Air Force issued an air defense alert throughout the night of June 10th and the early morning of June 9th, warning many areas of the risk of missile attacks. Command and UAVs, the Polish Armed Forces, Operational Command and Operations Forces, said it had scrambled fighter jets in response to Russian attacks in western Ukraine, Reuters news agency earlier reported. U.S. officials expected Russia to continue to carry out more large-scale and complex attacks in the coming days in response to Operation Spiderweb. According to a Western diplomatic source, the Kremlin Palace's retaliation could target high-value government targets, such as administrative headquarters or intelligence facilities. Mr. Michael Kahn, a Russia expert at the Carnegie Foundation for International Peace, predicted that Russia would likely punish the Ukrainian SBU Domestic Security Agency for its role in Operation Spiderweb. He said to send a strong message, Russia could use medium-range ballistic missiles in the attack. Mr. Kaman said it was highly likely they would try to target the SBU's headquarters or administrative buildings. Other regional intelligence agencies, in addition to Russia, could also target Ukraine's defense production centers.